What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys. It is 2:57 a.m. on a early Saturday morning, and I just finished watching Tyler Perry's new movie, Straw, that premiered yesterday on Netflix, you guys. So before we go ahead and get into it, this is a review for Tyler Perry's Straw that is on Netflix, starring Sherry Shepherd, Tiana Taylor, and Taraji P. Henson, right? So before we get into it, if you guys are watching the video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss Straw on Netflix, shall we? All right, you guys. So I literally just finished watching Straw. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. So if you guys want to go check it out on Netflix, definitely go check it out. So the movie, like I said, the runtime is about an hour and 40 minutes. What I will say, you guys know how it is when I watch anything Tyler Perry, review his shows and movies, most of them, I'd be like, oh, what did I watch, right? This one, you guys may be slightly surprised by me that I have a different opinion of this movie. Now, what I will say, there are two things in the movie that I did not necessarily like. The number one thing that I did not like was, and I kept seeing it throughout the entire movie because it was just there, Tiana Taylor's wig. The wig that he plopped onto Tiana's head, baby, I hate that wig. I was like, oh my God, if I see this wig one more time, I'm gonna scream. Then on top of that, Taraji's character, Janiyah. Tyler is, here's the thing, I'm gonna give Tyler his kudos in this review, but I'm also going to criticize just one thing, right? And it's the same thing that I think we all always say when it comes to Tyler Perry's movies, when it comes to his depiction of black women. I hate the depiction of black women always in a struggle. I hate that. Like, because I didn't grow up with, my grandmother wasn't a black woman that struggled, right? My mama didn't struggle. So I didn't really see that. I didn't see that stuff growing up. So that's not what, and I don't, the black women in my family, they don't, it's no struggle in my family. Do we have everything? No. Like with my mom, the thing, and I'm not gonna say my mama didn't like, she wasn't scratching and surviving. Let's just put it that way. My mom put more into me than she did herself. And then when I got older, that's when she started, to put more into herself. But growing up, she catered more towards me and, making sure I had what I needed, right? So I don't know that struggle, none of that struggle stuff that Tyler writes about. But the movie, overall, for me, if I had to rate this movie, if I was on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, honestly, you guys, you might be surprised about what I'm about to say. If I had to rate this movie, take away Tiana's wig and the struggle, I'd give it an 8. It was good to me, you guys. It honestly really was good to me. There were moments in the movie where I was boo-hoo crying, you guys. Like tears were just running down my face, you guys. So it was good. There were some things in this movie that when I was watching it, it was very unrealistic. It was completely unrealistic. And I'm gonna tell you guys, the main thing that was so unrealistic to me, actually there were quite a few things that were unrealistic to me. So the first thing that's unrealistic to me is, and I have notes, so I'm gonna come back to my notes. But the first thing that was unrealistic to me is how this shit with Janiyah happened. So when Janiyah went to go get her last paycheck from her boss and they got robbed in the back, and then Janiyah fought with the robbers, then Janiyah got the robber's gun and Janiyah blasted the robber Then Janaya's boss, Richard, thinks that Janaya set this up because the man said Janaya's name. Meanwhile, Janaya got her name tag on. That's why that man said Janaya's name. So then Janaya shoots and takes out her boss. I was like, say what now? I was so confused by that. Like, what the fuck? And Janaya just walks out. I was like, okay. But at that point, I knew Janaya had lost grip of reality. So, to start the movie, our main character's name is Janaya, who is Taraji P. Henson's character, right? So we see Janaya. So Janaya lives in, I believe, the projects because it is hood as hell, right? Her neighbors upstairs keeping up a lot of noise. You know, she got her daughter in the bed next to her. Her daughter was asleep, so she woke her daughter up to get her ready for school. And, you know, she's getting her daughter a bath. And her daughter was like, you know, Mom, I can take a bath myself. And Janaya was like, but you fell, so I want to give you a bath, right? And so we see, you know, Janaya took her daughter to school. Then after that, we see Janaya, she went to work. So Janaya works two jobs, right? Now she never said what her second job was. We just know what this one job is. So she's a cashier at a grocery store, right? And there is a long line of people waiting because it's the first of the month. So people are waiting to get their checks cashed. People are, you know, shopping because there was this one woman, her and her man came up. They're on Wick, and she had some stuff that Wick didn't pay for, and the girl was like, "Well, I do this all the time," and she was like, "Well, I can't do this." She was like, "Bitch, what the fuck?" So the girl cussed her out. They threw a bottle at her. It was alcohol, right? And so her boss comes up to her and asks her, like, talking about clean this shit up. I was like, dude, you just saw that nigga walk out and throw that shit at her, right? So her boss, who is played by what was the guy's, what is his name? What is his name? I can't think of his name right now. Y'all remember him? He played the janitor, the custodian on A Different World. What the hell is his name? I know his name, but I can't think of his name right off the top of my brain right about now. And it's gonna come to me. Y'all ain't gotta put it in the comments. Glenn Sherman. That's who it was. I'm like, Glenn. Okay, yeah, that's who that was. That's who that was. Glenn. So, okay, so the boss is an asshole. His name is Richard, right? Richard is a complete asshole to Janaya. And so Janaya's phone rings. And so it's Janaya's daughter's school calling her. Also, I forgot to mention, so Janaya's daughter, her name is Aria, I believe that's what her name is. So Aria was telling her that at the school, the teacher said in front of the other students that her mama needs to give her $40 so that way she can eat the actual lunch instead of, I guess, like a sack lunch or whatever. And so Janaya said, well, you know, she asked him for her check. He was like, no. So she's like, my daughter's school is calling. I need to go down there. He was like, you got 30 minutes to get back. I said, 30 minutes to go to the school and back with her child? Like, she's telling you it's her child. But he don't give a fuck, right? So Janaya leaves, right? But Janaya works across the street from a bank. And so she banks, so she goes to the bank. She tries to get $40 out of her checking account, right? But it's telling her insufficient funds. So Janaya went inside to talk to Nicole, who is played by Sherry Shepherd, right? So Nicole, she says, you know, I'm trying to get money out the ATM machine. I need $40 for my daughter's school. And she was like, I know I got $47 in my account. And so Nicole tells her, yeah, there's a thing where you can't take out the $40 because if you take out the $40, it'll close your account. I was like, girl, what kind of fucking bank is this? Where I can't take $40 out of my account because if I do, it'll close it. I would never want to bank with them. Just keep, because she said in order to keep it at the minimum. But the minimum is just to open up the checking account. Now I know some, like when I was with Bank of America, with Bank of America, there was one checking account that they tried to get me into where that was Wells Fargo. If you put so much money into it, no, that was Bank of America. where you put so much money into it every month, you won't get hit with those monthly fees. And I said, because let's just say, for the sake of saying, that one month I don't have that set dollar amount, then y'all gonna charge me it either way it go or overdraft me. So fuck no, I ain't doing that dumb shit, right? So she left there, right? She went to the school. She gets to the school, and the teacher is, there with CPS, because CPS is there because, like I said earlier, Jania's daughter fell, right? So she has a bruise on her. They're also saying that the daughter, she doesn't come to school clean. And Jania was like, that's a damn lie. She was like, I bathe her. I bathe her. I don't always have hot water. She said, I don't have gas, so I don't always have hot water, but I do bathe her. And then she was like, I buy enough, I buy food, for, so that we can eat whatever we can. I was like, oh God, here we go with this struggle. Again, you guys, it's the struggle. So CPS took Aria and gave Jania her card, right? So Jania leaves out of the school, gets in her car, and drives. So remember, Jania was supposed to be back to work in 30 minutes, right? So Jania is stuck in traffic. So Jania, there was an open lane. So Jania just moved her car into the next lane, and there's this asshole who is in this Camaro, right? So this asshole, he almost hit her, which it would have been Jania's fault because, she wasn't paying attention to the road. So he didn't hit Jania. He went into a parking lot, right? But he let his window down. Mind you, it's raining too. So he let his window down and threw his coffee at her and called her a fucking bitch. And I was like, dude, you didn't hit her and she didn't hit you. So why are you so upset, right? So Jania starts driving off. So this man comes up behind Jania and just hits the fuck out of Jania's rear end. So Jania's car spun around and it stopped. So when it stopped, she couldn't turn her car on, right? So she get out of her car, go up under the trunk, not up under the trunk, go up under the hood to, mess with the hood, right? And then another cop pulls up behind her talking about license and registration. I was like, bitch, she just got hit. And that's what Jania is telling her, like, I just got hit by a man. I got his license plate. She's like, ma'am, I need your license and registration. So Jania gives her her registration. Jania has expired registration. She's like, I get paid today. She's telling everybody she gets paid today, right? And then she'll take care of it. She's telling, the school she gets paid today. She's telling the cop she gets paid today. And she's going to get her insurance back. And so she also told her landlord, like, I get paid today. I'll give you the money. And so then, also, you guys, I will also mention, Sinbad is in this movie. So Sinbad is playing a homeless man. I didn't realize who Sinbad was in the first frame, but then when we see him again, I was like, bitch, that's fucking Sinbad. I was like, oh, okay. I did not recognize him until later after Jania did what happened with Jania. So Jania is soaking wet, right? Jania went back to work and Richard tells her, you fired because you've been gone for 2 fucking hours. I was like, dude, she told you it was dealing with her child. He was like, I don't give a fuck. So Jania was like, okay, well, can I have my check? He was like, company policies. Your check will be in the mail to you. But she was like, but Richard, my check is right there. He was like, I don't give a fuck. Your check will be in the mail to you. I was like, you know what? Whatever happens to Richard, happens to Richard, right? So Jania left, right? And so Jania went home. The bitch of a landlord done threw all her shit on the curb, right? So Jania's luck is just in the shitter. So then Jania goes back to the grocery store to get her check, right? Mind you, her check is, when she went to the bank to cash that fucking check, it is $521. Also, forgot to mention, the cop wrote her a ticket. She was like, I can't afford this damn ticket. Then the white cop, the guy, he told her that, if he see her again, he will find a legal way to, Janiyah. I was like, wow. I was like, bitch, don't you got a body cam on you? And she's so that's that. So Janiyah, I've already talked about this part, but we'll talk about it again. So Janiyah went back to the grocery store, right? She's going to get her check. Richard still is not budging with giving her her check. He still ain't budging. So then these guys walk in to rob them. So Richard gives, takes, he has money on the table, on the desk, and then he also has money in the safe. So they tell Janiyah to give them the money. This is where Janiyah got into a back and forth over the gun, right? And this is where Janiyah popped the one robber, the other one ran out, and then, Richard called the cops, telling the cops Janiyah knows the man, and Janiyah, set this up. I was like, why would you think that? Again, she just left work, dude. She got her name tag. This is very reminiscent of Frankie on Friday with Darnell, where she knew Darnell from around the hood. This movie, this movie has remnants of Set It Off. Did I say Friday? If I said Friday, I meant Set It Off. Set It Off. Like Frank, it reminds you of Frankie from Set It Off, and it also reminds you of TT from Set It Off, right? So Janiyah blasts, like I said earlier, Janiyah blasts the hell out of Richard. So Richard is a dunzo. Janiyah leaves. I was like, oh wow, she just left. So then after that, we see Janiyah as Janiyah went down to, well, she went across the street to the bank, right? And so, because she got her check. Mind you, her check got blood all over it. Richard's blood, that is. So, Janiyah goes up to this one bank teller. Her name, ooh, what was her name? I forgot that girl's name that quick. I forgot her name that quick, you guys. But Janiyah went up to one bank teller, and I cannot remember what that girl's name was. Fuck my life. What is her name? 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 Oh yeah, it's gonna drive me crazy. It's gonna drive me crazy. Cause here's the thing. So when Janiyah went back to the bank, mind you, she's just going to the bank to cash her check. That's all Janiyah wants to do is cash her check. So she's asking, so she goes up, Tessa, that's her name. So she went up to Tessa. So she said she gave her check to Tessa. She's like, I just want to cash my check, right? She goes in the bank all the time. So Tessa was like, we need your ID. And she was like, he took my ID, talking about the cops, right? They took her ID. Or it could have been the bank robbers. Somebody took her ID. So she was like, I just need my. So at this point, she's just, she's just frantic, right? So Tessa says, but I need your ID. It's bank policy. Which, I mean, here's the thing. I know that banks do ask for ID, but it's when it's over a certain dollar threshold, right? Like if you cash in a check over like $1,000, I know they ask for two forms of identification. Like they'll ask for like your driver's license and a credit card, right? I do know that much because I've done that before where I had to go cash a check over $1,000, cash a check over $1,000. But this check was $521, and she works she has a checking account here. Again, I know they have protocol, but when you say let me see your debit card or something, like I didn't understand that part, right? Again, there's something else that's a little bit, I feel like it might be unrealistic. So after that, they're going back and forth. So Janiyah just slaps the gun on the counter. I was like, oh hell. So now they're thinking that, so Tessa triggered the silent alarm, right? And Nicole is in her office, and Nicole sees the science fair project that her daughter made. They think it's a bomb. I was like, oh hell, here we go. So y'all think this woman is robbing a bank, and y'all think this woman got a damn bomb. Two things which are not true. So that set this whole thing into motion, right? So then the cops get called, they show up to the bank, and racist cop and his partner or the woman that was helping, gave her the ticket, they're there, right? And so at this point, what's her name? Janaya is just trying to figure out like, why is all this shit going on? Like, they're like, you're robbing the bank. She's like, I'm not robbing the bank. Like, what the fuck? I'm not robbing the damn bank. I just want to cash my check. Because at one point, Tessa and the other girl, Raya, they just started giving her all the money. She was like, I don't want this money. I just want my check. $521 is what I want, right? So now I will say, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. The middle of this movie, it kind of drug because the middle part of the movie really kind of drug on quite a bit, right? Because they think she has hostages, right? So and the thing was with Janaya, Janaya let people go. Janaya let people free. So I was like, they're not hostages, right? So the police come. Now also in the meantime, this is where we were introduced to Kay. What's her first name is Kay. I forget what detective something, right? Tiana Taylor's character. Forgot what her last name. Detective Raymond. So Detective Raymond and her partner, they were going around talking to different people, right? Her friend at the grocery store said that this is not something that Janaya would do. Benny, who is the homeless man played by Sinbad, said this is not something that Janaya would do. The landlord didn't give a damn, but they did find the daughter's medication on the ground and her shit outside, right? So they get to the bank and, they're trying to talk to Janaya. They called Nicole's phone. Janaya hung up the fucking phone on the police. So then at one point, Detective Raymond got on the phone and she started, basically identifying with her, basically letting her know, hey, you know, I know about your daughter, this and this and that. And so she, at one point, Detective Raymond told her that, she and her mom had got evicted at one point when she was about 9 years old. And Janaya's like, my daughter's 8 years old, right? So they were kind of identifying with each other, right? And even at one point, the negotiator, he kind of had to tell Detective Raymond, like, you're getting a little too close, like, dial it back a little bit, right? So, like I said, that's the middle part of the movie. What I will say is that character Tessa, complete bitch, complete bitch. So, like I said, also, Janaya is letting people go. These girls are still freaking out because they think that this thing in her backpack is a bomb, but it's not a bomb. Like I said, it's a science fair project that her daughter made. And then, like I said, the middle part of the movie, it did kind of drag on because we get, 1 minute Detective Raymond is on the phone with Janaya. They want to call in the FBI. The police are saying don't call in the FBI because then they call in the FBI is gonna get worse, right? So Detective Raymond is still talking to, her, trying to negotiate with her. But every time she's on the phone, she's like, I'm not coming out there until that cop is gone. Like, I'm not coming out there until he's gone. Because he told me he would find a legal way to take me out, right? So nobody's really listening to her because she said he wrote her a ticket earlier. So then we see as Detective Raymond and her partner, they went to go look to see, who wrote her a ticket. They couldn't find anything, right? And then at one point, they finally figured out that that thing in her backpack is not a bomb, right? So Tessa went to the bathroom to write on the window that it's not a bomb, just one gun, right? And like I said, it was a lot of back and forth. Not what I will say, it wasn't a lot of back and forth dialogue for me personally. It was a lot of back and forth with them trying to negotiate um with what's her name? Janaya. At one point, the teller turned on her phone and flipped it over and went live. So the news was broadcasting the live. So everybody was able to see the live, right? And then people showed up to the bank to basically, free Janaya, free Janaya, free Janaya. Mind you, this started earlier in the fucking day, right? By the end of the movie, it's pitch black outside. I said, so wait a minute. So y'all think this woman was robbing a bank. Y'all know she took unalived her boss. This is where I said it was unrealistic for me because with all this stuff, granted, Detective Raymond doesn't think that Janiyah intentionally did this stuff. Detective Raymond thinks that Janiyah has, she's not herself, right? She thinks that she snapped, which is pretty much what the movie is. She had her last straw. She's down to her last straw, right? So the FBI finally shows up. And when the FBI shows up, the guy is a complete asshole. And also, Janiyah had them turn off all the cameras, right? So Janiyah and Nicole, they ended up bonding with each other, right? And so Janiyah was like, well, if I go to jail, will you come visit me? Will you take care of my daughter while I'm in jail, right? And so Nicole said yes. So then we get to the end of the movie, right? Because Nicole, they finally found the cop because the lady cop, she came forward and said, yeah, I was the one that wrote her the ticket. So Raymond was like, well, who the hell, hit her? And she didn't want to talk. She's like, oh, you finna fucking play with me? So she finally told her it was Oliver. So Raymond went up to him and punched him in the fucking face and told him, you're fucking done, right? So they get him out. So they call Janiyah, let Janiyah know, like, hey, we found him. He's gone, right? So Janiyah's like, well, I want y'all to send me a picture to make sure you got the right person. But at this point, they've cut, the FBI has cut the line, so there's no cell phone service going on, right? So she was like, well, send me a picture. And so Raymond was like, okay, we'll send you a picture. She's like, but we need something from you. We need you to let the three hostages go at this point. So at this point, she's let an older lady, it was an older lady in there. She let her go because she has diabetes, right? There was another older couple in there. Now, mind you, the thing that like the older woman said to Tessa, and I was even thinking about the old man, even though he talking about he was a veteran, I was like, but if you look at this is a frantic woman. If she was really gonna rob this bank, she wouldn't have and at one point this dumbass man charged her and the gun went off. I was like, dude, you so fucking stupid. He was like, I was just trying to disarm her. Dumbass, why would you charge somebody with a fucking gun? But she kept saying that she wasn't robbing a bank, right? And the woman kept saying, I don't want, when that woman kept telling them she did not want that money, she wanted $521. Y'all should have knew at that point that that woman was not there to rob that fucking bank, right? But neither here nor there. So Detective Raymond asked her to release the hostages, right? Nicole, Raya, and Tessa. So she's like, okay, well, if you send me the picture, then I'll definitely let them go. And so the FBI wants to charge in, and they were like, but we are disarming her. And the FBI was like, it's been 12 hours. I was like, it's been 12 hours? I'm sorry. In what world would this happen? Again, unrealistic. But other than that, like I said, I did enjoy the movie, right? So then the end of the movie, guys, this is the part that really broke my heart. The end of the movie really broke my heart, right? So at one point, Janiyah said that she didn't want her daughter to go with her mama and her sister because they both crazy, right? So the FBI went to her mama's house. They turned her phone back on and it said mom. So she answered the phone and her mama is talking to her, right? And so she was talking about, I gotta do this for Aria. And her mama tells her they took her to the hospital and Aria died. I said, what? Whoa, 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 whoa. Because so Aria had a seizure. So turns out Aria had a seizure the night before and they took her to the hospital. And so Aria died. So everything that we saw throughout this entire movie, it was a figment of Janiyah's imagination. So going back to the beginning of the movie, you guys, the beginning of the movie. Actually, I'll start with where she, came back to reality, right? So when she came back to reality, we see her as she's walking out of the hospital with her daughter's blanket, right? And so then we see her in bed. Remember, at the beginning of the movie, her daughter was in the bed with her. But we see her now, she's not there. Then we see her as she took her to school. She just drove up to that school, opened the door, and was waving, and the teacher was just looking at her like, what the hell is going on? Then remember, I said she was at work and she got a call to come down to the school. That was a bill collector calling her. And then we see her, she went down to the school and they were like, we didn't call you. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, she had a break from reality. Ooh, I was like, this is grief. So then we moved back to her in the bank. So Nicole let Raya and Tessa go because Nicole has built a relationship, a bond with Janiyah. So she's gonna walk out with Janiyah, right? And so then we see as the FBI, they're swarming, right? They got their guns ready. And so they throw in the tear gas and they're telling Janiyah to put the gun down. So they got the lasers, square right here on her. I was like, y'all finna blast. They boom, and so Janiyah fell down. But then we see Janiyah. So Janiyah is looking up at the sky. I was like, oh, so she's not gone. So we see as Janiyah and Nicole walked out to the sound of Detective Raymond's voice, and they arrested her. And that was the movie. That was a movie. It was a good, like I said, if you guys are interested in watching it, go watch it. It's not a bad, I will say it's one of Tyler's better movies. For me personally, I can only speak for me. Y'all may end up hating that movie. Y'all may end up hating it. But overall, I was glued to the movie. I will say that. I was glued to the movie. But yeah, you guys, if you guys watched it, let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel, you guys. Turn on your post notifications and share the video. And I will catch you guys later on. Well, I don't know what time I'm gonna put this up. Cause like I said, it is currently 3:30 in the morning. So and y'all know. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll put this up because I gotta watch Never Ever Met and I gotta watch Friday's episode of Beyond the Gates. So when I wake up, when I wake up this morning, y'all will probably see this about 10 o'clock this morning, and then you guys know I'll go live with Really Be today for Beyond the Gates, and I think we're gonna do that 1 p.m. Eastern time, 12 Central time. So yeah, I'll see you guys for that. And then like I said, the Never Ever Mets, that'll be up later today as well. So I'll see you guys later. As always, you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.